Disclaimer: this testimony is shared with love and deep respect. It is not meant to condemn, but to awaken hearts to the reality of eternity and the mercy of God. Please listen with an open spirit, weigh everything against Scripture, and let this story move you closer to forgiveness, holiness, and the hope found in Jesus Christ.
My name is Angela, and I am alive today by nothing less than the mercy of God. But I stand before you trembling, because I have seen what most people refuse to believe is real. I died. And in those terrifying moments when my heart stopped and my body lay lifeless, God pulled back the veil and showed me something that shook me to my core. I was taken into a place darker than the darkest night, filled with screams that no human tongue can describe. And there, in that place we call hell, I was shown 3 secrets, 3 horrifying truths about single mothers in hell. Why them? Why specifically mothers who once carried life in their wombs? I wrestled with the same question, until the Lord answered me. What I saw left me weeping for days. Even now, as I share this story, my chest feels heavy. If you are a mother, a sister, or even someone who has ever judged or looked down on a single mother, I beg you, do not click away. Listen, because what God revealed is not just about them, it's about all of us. This testimony isn't entertainment. This is a cry from my soul. I have seen eternity, and I can't stay silent. Before I share the full story, I need to pause and thank this community. So many of you who watch, comment, and pray for these testimonies. You don't know how much strength you give to people like me who are trembling as we share our deepest wounds. Your encouragement, your prayers, your willingness to listen to the stories of others. It matters. It reminds us that we are not alone, that the body of Christ is alive and still fighting for truth. Thank you for supporting, for sharing, and for making this space safe for broken people to tell what God has done. If even one soul is pulled out of the fire because of this, then your prayers and your support are not in vain. May God bless every single one of you who hears this message to the end. I was born on October 17, 1984, in a small town in Georgia. If you had asked anyone in my family, they would have told you I was the good girl, the one who followed the rules, went to church on Sunday, and sang in the choir. But what they didn't know was that behind my smile, my heart was slowly growing cold toward God. By the time I hit my early 20s, I was a lukewarm Christian at best. I knew the scriptures. I could quote John 3 verse 16 and Psalm 23 like any church kid. But my life told a different story. I loved the world. I loved attention. I loved the thrill of sin that nobody else could see. My first trauma came when I was 19. I fell in love with a man who promised me forever, but left me the moment I told him I was pregnant. I'll never forget sitting in my car outside that doctor's office, staring at the positive test, and realizing that I was going to be a single mother. I felt abandoned, dirty, unwanted. The whispers from family didn't help. Some said, she ruined her life. Others looked at me with pity, as if my future had already been buried. I carried bitterness like a heavy stone in my chest. I smiled on Sundays, but inside, I resented God. Why would He allow this? Why would He let me be humiliated like this? I raised my daughter with all the strength I had, but that bitterness grew into secret sins. I numbed my pain with relationships, even with men I knew weren't good for me. I hid behind makeup, fake smiles, and church attendance, but I was hollow inside. The worst part? I never truly believed in hell. I thought it was an exaggeration, a scare tactic. Yes, the Bible mentioned it, but in my mind God was too loving to send anyone there, especially someone like me, someone who had been hurt, someone who tried her best. I judged others too. I looked at other single mothers who fell deeper into sin, drugs, prostitution, even abandoning their kids, and I thought, at least I'm not like them. But my heart wasn't clean. I was living in unforgiveness. I was living in rebellion. I wanted God's blessings without surrendering my life. And little did I know, all of that would catch up with me one night when my life suddenly slipped through my fingers. It was the night of June 14, 2016. A date that will never leave me. The day had been ordinary. Work, picking up my daughter from school, making dinner. But by nightfall, I was overwhelmed by exhaustion and a strange pain in my chest that I brushed off as stress. I remember tucking my daughter into bed, kissing her forehead, and telling her I loved her. She whispered back, "Good night, Mommy." That would be the last thing I heard before my life changed forever. Around 11:45 p.m., I collapsed on my bedroom floor. At first, I thought I was just fainting, but the pain in my chest spread like fire, and suddenly, I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred. My fingers went numb. I gasped for air, but none came. And then silence. I knew in that moment I was dying. Terror ripped through me. My thoughts weren't about money or work or grudges. My thoughts were of my daughter. Who will take care of her? God, please, not like this. But as my tears rolled down, something strange happened. I saw myself lying there on the carpet. My body. My lifeless body. Yet I was standing, watching. Confusion turned to horror. I screamed, but no sound came out. The air around me grew thick, heavy, and then I felt it. A force, a pull, like invisible hands grabbing me. At first it was subtle, then it grew violent, dragging me downward. The room disappeared. The walls, the bed, even the ceiling gone. In its place was a tunnel of pure darkness. I fell and fell, faster than any free fall, my stomach twisting in knots. The air smelled of sulfur, a choking stench that made me gag even though I wasn't breathing. And then came the sounds. Screams. Not human cries like a person stubbing a toe or being startled. No, these were guttural, raw, endless screams of agony. Thousands upon thousands of voices, men, women, even children. Their cries layered over each other, a symphony of torment that pierced my soul. Where am I? I shouted, though no one answered. As I descended, I saw flashes of red and orange glowing in the blackness. Then I hit the ground, but it wasn't earth. It was jagged, hot, like standing on broken glass that burned into my feet. Yet my body didn't die again. I felt every cut, every scorch. The air was thick with smoke. Shadows moved in the distance, their shapes twisted and grotesque. Some crawled on all fours, some staggered upright, their mouths wide open in endless screams. The stench of burning flesh and decay was unbearable. My heart pounded, not with blood. I had no blood, but with raw terror. I knew. Somehow I knew. This was hell. I tried to pray. Jesus, help me. Please forgive me. My words felt like they bounced off the darkness, swallowed by the void. That's when I felt them. Hands. Cold, rough, clawed hands grabbing my arms, my legs, dragging me deeper. I fought, I kicked, I screamed, but I was powerless. Their laughter. Oh God, their laughter. It still echoes in my ears. It wasn't human. It was guttural, mocking, filled with hatred. The deeper I was pulled, the more I saw. Rivers of fire, souls chained and writhing. Demons towering over them with weapons I can't even describe. I wanted to close my eyes, but I couldn't escape the sight. And then I heard a voice, not from the demons, not from the souls, but from within me. A whisper. Now you will see the secrets. My blood, if I had any, ran cold. Because in that moment, I realized this wasn't just death. This was revelation. And God Himself was about to show me truths I had ignored all my life. The ground beneath me cracked as I was dragged deeper into the abyss. Every step echoed like thunder. Yet there was no solid rhythm, just chaos. The screams around me weren't distant anymore. They clawed into my ears, each one different, yet all filled with the same desperation, regret. And then, I saw them. Thousands of women. Mothers. They were gathered in a pit that glowed with fire from beneath. Some clutched their stomachs as if they were still pregnant. Others stretched out their arms, weeping for children they could not see. The flames licked their skin, yet their bodies never burned away. I froze. My chest heaved though I had no lungs. Why am I seeing this? I whispered. And then that same voice I had heard before, deep and resonant, spoke again. This time louder, clearer. You asked if hell was real. Now you will see why many are here. You will see the secrets about the mothers who carried life but did not honor me. I trembled. My mind raced. Mothers? Single mothers? Why them? Then the first revelation came. I was led to a woman kneeling in chains. Her hair was scorched, her skin blistered, and yet her face, oh, her face was frozen in bitterness. She screamed, not in pain but in anger. I did everything alone. Nobody helped me. Nobody cared, she cried over and over, her words echoing in endless rage. The voice said, She never forgave. She carried her child, but also carried hatred toward the father, her family, her church, even her own child. She thought her bitterness was justified. She never released it to me, and now, unforgiveness has chained her soul. I fell to my knees, tears streaming. I thought of my own bitterness, the resentment I had carried for years. My stomach twisted. Oh God, that could have been me. The scene shifted, and I saw another woman. She danced in the flames, her jewelry melting into her skin, her laughter twisted into screams. She kept shouting, "I deserve happiness. I deserve love." The voice spoke again. She wanted the title of mother but not the responsibility of holiness. She pursued men after men, thinking my grace covered her rebellion. She raised her children without my word, and she mocked those who tried to correct her. She believed her lifestyle didn't matter as long as she said my name. I shuddered. I remembered my own excuses. How many times had I said, "God knows my heart," while living in compromise? The pit grew louder. I saw women clawing at their wombs, blood dripping yet never drying. Their cries were unlike anything I'd ever heard. They screamed for their children. Children they had chosen to abort, children they abandoned, children they cursed in moments of anger. The voice thundered. They were given the gift to carry life. Some destroyed it. Some despised it. Some cursed the very blessing I placed in their hands. They never repented. They thought I would overlook it. But I am the giver of life. To reject the gift is to reject me. My soul shook violently. I wanted to shut my ears, but the screams pierced me. I wept uncontrollably. "Please, Lord, stop. I can't see anymore." I cried. But the voice answered, firm and unyielding. "This is why you are here. To see, to tell. For many walk this path blindly. You will carry this message. You will not forget." At that moment, demons laughed louder, dragging the women deeper into the pit. Their cries faded into the flames, but their torment was unending. I was paralyzed with horror. My spirit felt crushed. I thought, surely this is the end for me too. But then, just as despair swallowed me whole, a light pierced the darkness. It wasn't like the fire of the pit. It was pure white radiant. The screams dimmed as the light drew near, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, I felt hope. I knew it was him. The light grew brighter and brighter, until the very flames seemed to shrink back in fear. Demons that had mocked and clawed at me shrieked and fled into the shadows. The screams of the damned dimmed to a low murmur. For the first time in that place, I felt peace pressing against the chaos. And then I saw him. Not fully, because no eye can behold his fullness, but enough to know it was Jesus. The radiance of his presence was like standing before the sun, and yet not being consumed. His eyes, oh his eyes, they held fire and love at the same time. A love so piercing it broke me into pieces, and a holiness so intense it made me feel like dust. I fell on my face. "Lord, I don't deserve to see you. Please. I've failed you." My words tumbled out with sobs. But he spoke, and his voice was like rushing waters, powerful, unshakable, yet tender. "Daughter, your time has not yet come. But I have allowed you to see, because my people do not believe. My people play with sin, and they take lightly the calling of motherhood. You must go back and tell them. Hell is real. Forgiveness is not optional. Holiness is not optional. Life is sacred." His words sliced through me. Every memory of my bitterness, my compromises, my excuses flashed before my eyes like a burning scroll. I wanted to hide, but his gaze searched me completely. "Lord," I whispered. I carried unforgiveness. I judged. I lived in compromise. I could have been in that pit. And then, something I will never forget, his hand reached toward me. Not to strike me, not to condemn me, but to lift me. "My mercy has covered you, but you cannot go back the same. You will warn them. You will not be silent." As he touched me, waves of love flooded my being. It was love so deep, it erased every lie I had believed about him. He wasn't distant. He wasn't cruel. He wasn't the God who had abandoned me when I became a single mother. No, he had been with me through it all. I just hadn't seen it. Tears poured down my face. "Lord, what do I tell them? They won't listen. They'll think I'm crazy." Jesus looked at me, and I felt his answer not just in my ears, but in the very core of my soul. "Tell them I am coming soon. Tell them I am holy, and those who follow me must walk in holiness. Tell the single mothers, the fathers, the children, the churches. I see their pain, but I require their surrender. Without holiness, no one will see me. Without forgiveness, no one will enter my kingdom. Without reverence for life, no one will stand before me justified." The words burned into me like fire branded on my heart. And then softer, he added, "I love them. Tell them that too. I love them more than they can imagine. That's why I warn before I come." The light around me grew brighter and brighter, until the darkness completely vanished. I felt my spirit being pulled upward, away from the pit, through that long tunnel of shadows. But this time, I was not afraid. The light carried me. And then, with a gasp, I woke up. My body jerked violently on the floor of my bedroom, lungs heaving as if I had been drowning. My chest pounded, sweat drenched my skin, and my daughter's voice echoed faintly in the distance. "Mommy? Mommy, are you okay?" I was alive, but I was not the same. The morning after my encounter, I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror without trembling. My face looked the same, but my soul felt as though it had been turned inside out. Every sound of laughter, every glimpse of the sun shining through the window, it all felt like undeserved mercy. My daughter crawled into my arms, and as I held her, I wept. "You are a gift," I whispered over and over. For years I had carried resentment about being left alone to raise her. But now, all I could feel was gratitude. She wasn't a burden. She was evidence of God's trust. From that day on, my priorities shifted. I stopped running after relationships that dishonored God. I stopped living a double life, smiling in church while secretly holding on to bitterness and compromise. Instead, I began to pursue holiness with everything in me. I forgave her father. That was the hardest part. But how could I hold bitterness when I had just seen the eternal price of unforgiveness? I called family members I hadn't spoken to in years. I even stood in my church one Sunday and confessed publicly. I was living lukewarm. I saw hell. I can't play with God anymore. Now every time I speak with other single mothers, I look them in the eyes and tell them, "You are loved, but you must surrender. Don't let pain, shame, or bitterness drag you away from God." My home became a place of worship. My daughter and I began praying together every night. And though my life has not been easy since, my heart is anchored. Eternity is real. I've seen it. And I'll never forget it. Listen to me, hell is real. I don't care what you've been told. I don't care how comfortable sin feels right now. Eternity is longer than your excuses. I saw mothers who never forgave, who lived in compromise, who despised the gift of life, and they are weeping without rest. But you don't have to join them. Jesus is still calling. He told me to warn you. Without holiness, no one will see the Lord. Please repent. Forgive. Choose life. Choose Christ. Because tomorrow is not promised, and eternity is forever. Friend, I've told you my story, and now I leave the choice with you. Do you believe hell is real? Do you believe Jesus is calling you to holiness right now? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share in the comments. If you've ever had a near-death experience or a powerful encounter with God, your story could touch someone else's soul. Thank you for listening with an open heart. May God's mercy cover you, and may His Spirit prepare you for eternity. Until next time, stay watchful, stay ready, and never forget, eternity is closer than you think.